What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, September 16th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We stayed hot. Wasn't a huge day yesterday. 4-2 plus 1.55 units in MLB. That makes us 10-3 plus 6.55 units on the week in MLB, and I needed it. I needed it badly in MLB. But we've had a great start to the NFL season, a great start to the NCAA football season, and things are moving in the right direction. It's everything that Pistol Pete Loshak and I always dreamt of everybody working together with one common goal to defeat the books. And the selfless capping, I just am proud to be a part of this group. Shout out to everybody joining us right now. We got Kevin in the house. Puzzler saying, I took a look at the projected weather radar for Atlanta, and it looks like it won't rain until around 3:30, so I expect the game to be played. But the hourly forecast has a 90% chance of rain at 2, and only 9 games on this MLB card that we will be breaking down. Then we're going to go into NFL, big Thursday nighter, and started the year 13-5 plus 7.45 units. Then we'll move into NCAA football. We'll go over the picks that have already been locked in this week. Then we will discuss this Thursday nighter with 2 very disappointing football teams facing off in Ohio and Louisiana. And then I've added a spot, already a very unpopular spot, but I've took a long time on ODU and Liberty and feel like I've got a couple angles that are going to pay, but not popular looks right now. So we'll break that down. So I'm excited about the show. Brian Watson in the house. There's Maxwell Smart says, I'm eating cream cheese and banana sandwiches in honor of Jimmy's hot MLB start to the week. Love you, Maxwell Smart. There's a fucking sandwiches in you. There's Matty Ice, who stayed hot. Taint is heating up. Shout out to Taint. Indians full game. A casher. He told us straight up, he's like, look, I am going to end up over 60%. Because that's what I do. And right now he's sitting at 57% after 93 bets, 53-40. And I smell a sweep of the week from Matty Ice. Let's just get the day started by shouting out Matty Ice and sweet Taint. And here it is. Oakland KC first 5 under 5.5. Oakland KC under first 5 under 5.5. Taint is in. Taint in. So I'm going to copy and paste that, have that ready to go for the breakdown. But let's shout out Taint. Exciting. All right, Taint is in. Nutflush Allen says, let's get to work. Let's do exactly that. I'm very curious to hear what you think of this big market move towards the Padres. I only made one MLB bet so far this morning. The market move towards the Padres stopped me in my tracks. And I had planned, after staying away from the game yesterday, I had planned on betting the Giants. But I will slow down and hear what you have to say. There's Top Set ready to go. Mike M, serious business. The Sweaty Butcher in the house. And Mike M, Pimp Slap Play. They went 2-0 yesterday, 7 straight, and 11-2 in the last 13 plays. Pimp slapping these bookies. Mike M rolling. And Mike M and Taint were together yesterday, right? Mike M, I believe, was the first 5 with the Indians, was one of his spots. There's TJ in the house. And, a big shout out to our man TJ. Just a little sign of us all working together. Yesterday, Mike Minor was supposed to pitch against the A's, and Noli Knows had a great breakdown of why he was on the under, first 5 under. And they switched to my favorite Venezuelan, just barely. But actually, you know what? Now that Jose's growing the mustache back, Jose's climbing fast. But Carlos Hernandez, whom I love dearly. And the market started getting bet towards the over immediately. And I reached out to TJ and I said, why do you think people are betting the over here? And this was his reply. Our man TJ said, He said, honestly, I see his upside, but my numbers don't love him. I have him well below average in a couple of key metrics I look at, probably because the Houston start is still within the last 30 days, screwing the numbers up a bit. But even if I take out that start, his Sierra and XFIP are still above 5. I have him as half a run worse than Mike Minor in the same matchup. Looks like the market is predicting regression for him in this one. BABIP of 189, hard hit rate in the 40s, can only go one way. Eventually he gets touched. Tonight? Question mark. And God, I still wanted to bet it. I still wanted to fucking bet it. And the game popped off at 8:05 or 8:10. At 7:40, I'm like, I went over the A's, what they've been doing against righties, and they're smashing righties for the last 30 days. I went in just to this month alone, so the last 15 days, and they're hitting righties so hard, and I was like, and I still I came so close. I was like the fucking finger on the trigger on both the Royals full game at plus 120 and the first 5 under 4.5, and then I was like, you can't do it. You can't do it. If TJ's numbers say that there's regression that's going to happen, if the market is betting into the over, you've got to stay off. Now, I will be a much better capper when I then take the other side, which I didn't do. But look, he saved me $300 last night, and I had a winning night, and I gave about 140 of it back in the horse racing show. So, TJ, thank you for saving. Thank you for looking after my family. That's what you did last night. Shout out to my guy, TJ. Great work. Working together, capping together. Because together, we can beat the books. So shout out to my guy, TJ. Okay, shout out to everybody joining us. Ron Lofton, Mark Schillingberg, Nate Dogg, Vaughn Polo coming to us from Charm City, Danny Lopez, Larry Garr, Paco Healy in the house, Viper NB, CT Bays. Haven't had enough CT Bays in a while. Great to see you, my guy. All right, I'm falling a little back of the cappers. Fuck the bookie. Says, let's just skip MLB and go straight to NFL. Do it, Jimmy. Jesus. This guy, he sounds like a bookie, though. Rodney Barton, thank you for the kind words. There's Razor Sharp Picks in the house. Clint Starr, the Die Hard MMA podcast. What a great group. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. And Maxwell Smart says, can't wait till this FCS game tonight. I did let that go, sadly. I did let that go. It just, the amount of study that goes in when you don't know teams very well, Bethune-Cookman, we know, but. And Maxie says, not popular with me, that's for sure. Liberty at the right number. Whew. Huge game for Liberty in 6 days in Syracuse. I don't know if this is the spot they're going to run up the score. They certainly haven't looked like they're going to run up the score against anybody right now. But I can't wait to talk about that game. Okay, so shout out everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us. There's Robert Cherry, Pamper Pop play of the day. 22 and 12, and he's upset. Pamper Pop play of the day is Colorado first 5 plus a half for Pamper Pop. Let me make sure that I've got that copied and pasted here. Where is it? Here we go. Sorry, Pamper Pop. There we go. Robert Cherry putting cash in our pockets. And that is on the Rockies game that pops off here in an hour and 9 minutes. And TJ all over that one as well. Slot says, Birdie, can't wait for week 2 NFL. Love your takes to the great Capper Birdie in the house. Great to see you. Slatsy, thank you guys all so much for joining us. Henry Dice ready to go. A Bonqueet ready to go. Says that over was money. Both have been getting on bats early. Chokeland gets greasy at the end of the game. They sure do. Razor Sharp Picks in the house. Gamblers first glance. Royals plus 110. So we have this going in. Let me pop this here. Razor Sharp Picks. Gamblers first glance is also on the Royals. So we have a lot to talk about in that spot. Taint play of the day on the under 5.5. Razor Sharp Picks on the Kansas City Royals. Ronnie Lofton coming off a 3-0 day. Love seeing that. Okay, time to get to work. There's Deacon Mike in the house. Max says Liberty will have Qs sucking their thumbs in the corner, shaking uncontrollably. Oh, yeah. Oh, I think they come to play against Syracuse in 6 days. Or 6 days after Saturday. That's a huge Friday night game. It's a huge game. It's going to be on TV. Everybody's going to have their eyes on it. Oh, yeah. I just have a sneaky suspicion that they're not going to put one on ODU here. Tyrone Coleman ready to go. Ich Schnizzle's been running hot. Elio says, when you come into USA, as soon as I can. Peter Hansen says, Noli knows you're posting your plays. Asking. Noli knows was awesome yesterday. Sammy Comer looking at Zagreb plus a half and Washington football team -3. I can't wait to talk about all that. Okay, it's time to get to work. Rodney Barton says, going to bet horses tomorrow night. Wish you could come. Rodney, where? Where are you going to be? Okay, time to get to work. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Okay, so what's going on here? Rem Most. Thank you for the extremely kind words. There's Ron Crawford, star of the spreadsheet play of the day. Okay, so our host, the man on the ones and twos, Jose Bouquet, is heading off to the baseball game here. They're going to get there early. It's 8:05 p.m. Eastern start, but they're going to get early to the Astros-Rangers game. Slaughter's going to be there. Big show picks. If any of you guys are in the Arlington area or in Texas at all, go to the ball game and hang out with Pub Sports Radio. So we are going to lose him. He's going to take off here pretty quick. So because of that, we're going to start with Houston Astros at Texas Rangers, the game that Jose Bouquet is going to. He is coming off a loss, but he's growing his mustache, and I expect some heckling at the game tonight. And I think this is a very tricky spot, so I'm looking forward to cap it. So, big Jose Bouquet, let's get him up on the show. Shout out to our man on the ones and twos. Jose right now is sitting... He's sitting 36 and 37, down 1.57 units, down 2.15% ROI, average line of plus 101, and coming off a loss with the Rays at plus 150. And I believe in him. Please welcome to the show before he heads off to Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, Jose Bouquet. Jose, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Jimmy. Doing well. Can't complain. About to make this drive. We are about to go up there. Have some barbecue with my good buddy Big Show, meeting him for the second time ever in person. Not a big deal. I'm not good at meeting people, so I can't wait. And also I'm excited for this game where I'll be doing something I have not done ever before, Jimmy.
What, knee deep in pussy?
No, that never happens, obviously. Come on, you've seen my body. Three bets. 2 bets are going to be half-unit bets. So we'll make the math easy, but 3 bets today on this game. Make it interesting for us.
It will be interesting, but I regret to inform you that there are no half-unit bets.
Well, let's do it all 3. Let's ride, Jimmy.
We ride together. All right, let's break this down. We need a roof update as soon as you can get it to us.
I'll take a picture of that thing. I'll be, hey guys, it's closed.
Are you certain it's going to be closed? Is everyone just certain it's going to be closed every night?
Well, no, it seems like a nice day out today. So
it's gorgeous. It's perfect for the roof to be open.
But here's the thing, Jimmy. They made that stadium because no one likes fucking baseball out in the heat, sweating their dicks off, having swamp ass because Texas is the #1 capital of swamp ass because of this humidity. So I'm going to go ahead and assume it's going to be closed again.
Probably. Okay, let's break down this. It is 88 Fahrenheit, though. It feels like 93 at first pitch. You're probably right. Okay, but it is a nice night, and it gets nicer as the game goes on. Framber Valdez versus Glenn Otto. This is not an easy cap. Framber Valdez, 10-5, 3.26 ERA, 1.27 WHIP, 116 innings, 109 Ks, 50 walks, 10 home runs. A great season he's had, but he's not looked good of late. He did not look good in his last start at home versus the Angels. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 of which were earned, 2 homers, 5 walks, and 6 Ks. Going up against Glenn Otto, whose first career start was against the Astros, and we had Pete Loshak was on the show, and he liked the Astros team total under 5.5 in that game. They ended up getting 5 runs, and we cashed it, but they got 0 off of Otto. He went 5 innings, 2 hits, no walks, 7 Ks. This is a pitcher with a high upside. In his penultimate start against the Angels. He got touched for 2 runs early. He was going up against Ohtani, and then he got his shit together and looked really good. Then I lost money on him in his last start at the A's. He got touched. The A's offense is clicking right now. He went 3 1/3, 8 hits, 8 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks, and a 10-5 loss. I do not know what we're going to get from him in this start. Astros versus righties last 30 days, 281 with a 769 OPS. Rangers versus lefties, 246 with a 660 OPS. The Rangers are starting to hit righties, but they're not hitting lefties. Astros bullpen last 30 days is not being good. 4.41 ERA, 1.30 whip, but the Rangers bullpen has been very good. 3.66 ERA, 1.32 whip. Matty Ice says Valdez absolutely owns this Texas team. Says absolutely owns them, fellas. I'm on Houston, Texas, full game under 8.5. There's Vitalis in the house. All right. Very, very, very interesting. Let's just go right to that baseball data here. I'll pull it up, and then we will set a table, hear what Jose has to say, then look at where the cash lies, and then lock in these bets. We are starting with the Astros. Those of you joining us right now, we're starting with Astros Rangers because our man Jose and Jeff Slaughter and Big Show will all be at the game tonight. Anybody in the Texas area, go to the game and hang out with our guys. Framber Valdez against this Rangers lineup. They're hitting 9 for 52 against them. 1 extra base hit, a homer by Adolis Garcia. 173 with a 476 OPS. Glenn Otto, as I said, shut this lineup down the first time he faced them. Okay, let's move over to the odds page here. And this is what we are dealing with. Last game on the card, the Astros opened up at minus 220. They're now minus 210. A 10-cent move towards the Rangers, and this total has gone from 9 to 8.5. Jose Bouquet, how are you getting paid while you're at this game?
Well, it's going to be a fun game. I don't expect there to be much offense to start off. Right there with Matty Ice. So I'm starting off with the first 5 under. I think we'll have a nice, calm start to the game. I'm on Bovado right now, but I'll switch over to our friends at Pinnacle for this game. But I think that we have a quiet start, like Matty Ice says. Framber Valdez, very good at pitching. Does the pitching well. I think he has a nice day. My only concern would be Otto. Second time seeing him. You know, Jimmy, you've seen me bet against these young pitchers, and it has worked out for me actually pretty well. But I'm going to take the first 5 under 4.5. Right now I'm Pinnacle minus 103. So we will start there.
First 5 under 4.5 at minus 103 is how Jose is going to get this started. By the way, a lot of nice things coming in about you. Maxwell Smart says, Jose, please don't get kidnapped by coyotes who want to sell you into sex trafficking.
Thank you, Max. I appreciate it.
Looking out for you. Okay, what's your next? Okay, and a lot of people backing this look. Vitalis says Astros first 5 minus a half. Colby Allard will pitch majority of innings. I mean, I'm surprised to hear that he'll pitch the majority of innings. I mean, Otto hasn't thrown that many innings this year. Ski Prophet says, met a guy last night at the casino that said he really enjoys the way Jose breaks down games. Keep up the good work. And Vital says, don't be fooled. Allard will pitch the majority of innings. I'm going to go over to RotoWire here quickly. Interesting. Okay, so let's go. Oh, then you have TJ saying, I have a very strong lean to the under and or Texas team total under. Valdez brings it today. Very interested in the cash here. And Viper MB says, I'm on the Astros. And Vitalis is on the Astros, first 5 minus a half. So let's discuss the cash right now. But first, I want to see that spot here and see the primary is, Colby Allard is the primary. Wow, very, very important note, Vitalis. Okay, here is the cash flow of this game. Sorry, let's move over to looking at the NFL cash flow. 2,900 tickets in. 76% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on Houston in a 10-cent move to Texas. Then we have 31% of the tickets on the under and 48% of the cash on the under. So it does seem like the under is where the sharp money is at. Okay, what's next for you, Jose?
Next, Framber Valdez, strikeout prop, 5.5, minus 118. Since we're doing the full unit bets, that's where my money will go next. He has a nice start. 6 strikeouts. Very nice and easy. And lastly, Jimmy, let me go ahead and slip my last one in here for you because it's a big dog spot. It's a big dog spot. We are going to take a Jack of the Day candidate. We are going to take a Jack of the Day candidate. Now, admittedly, I will admit, Colby Allard being the primary in this spot has thrown a wrench into my home run plans. However, I am going to take Carlos Correa today to hit a home run. Currently on Pinnacle, plus 370. Plus 370. On Bovada, he was at plus 400. So shop around, look around. Carlos Correa hits a home run. And when he does, and when I catch it, obviously, I think we're in the outfield seats this tonight. When I catch it, Jimmy, I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to bring it back for the show. I'm going to kiss it. And if some little kid tries to grab it for me, ask for me, I'm going to spit in his face and tell him, I fucking earned this ball. This is plus 400 right here, you stupid child. And celebrate my victory.
Wow. Some aggression from Jose Bouquet. Correa home run, was that plus 370?
Plus 370 on our friends at Pinnacle.
Wow. All right.
This could be very bad for the mustache. This game could go very poorly for the mustache. And we could come back on Tuesday, and I could be a beleaguered man.
Wow. So I think the Valdez over 5.5 Ks does correlate with what the chat thinks that Valdez is going to do. And the Rangers are the perfect opponent for him to get right. I don't like the idea of catching a falling knife, and I just feel like that sort of is the case here with Valdez. I don't know what's wrong with him. I can't pinpoint what's going on with him, and I am uncomfortable with this game. And Glenn Otto and Colby Allard are extremely different types of pitchers. And I don't know. Mandy Ice says Correa is 1-9 off of Allard, but the one was a home run. So there you go right there. Very, very exciting action. I am going to do nothing. I'm going to do nothing on this game. I don't feel like I have a read on what either starting pitcher is going to do, but very important news from Vitalis that Colby Allard is going to come in. Okay, Maxwell Smart says, do not take candy from strangers. So at least, a lot these guys have your best interests in mind. So I just want you to know that.
Well, I hope to see someone there at the game, of course. You can make fun of me there in person. I will be wearing this Red Sox jersey at the game. So
why?
Come on, you know me. You think I'm gonna wear a Rangers shirt or an Astros thing? No chance. I'm gonna go in there with my Red Sox stuff. So see me there. Say hello. Perhaps we'll talk gambling. We'll talk some bets there. And then when Carlos Correa hits a home run and they do their damn thing, we can all celebrate together in the outfield.
I love it, Jose. Safe travels. Really soak it up. Have an incredible time with the guys. It's so cool that you're all going to be there. So anybody in the Texas area, get to Arlington tonight. Astros Rangers Pub Sports Radio will be there. It'll be easy to find Jose because he'll be the one in the black eye and Red Sox jersey. Jose, we love you. Good luck with your action tonight and have a great, great time.
Thank you, Jimmy. I hope to see you very soon.
There he is, Jose. Say hey play of the day. We started on that game. Now, while Jose was breaking that down, Kev Riley, and how it's great to see you, Kev. We got Ski Profit, so many great cappers in the chat. The Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day came out. Jose, could you pop that up before you bounce? Because I know you're taking off soon. Could you pop the spreadsheet play of the day for Ron Crawford? It is the Atlanta Braves on the -1 line. So Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is in. And it is the Braves -1. Now we'll start breaking the games down from the earliest right away. But let's celebrate our man, Ron Crawford. All right. Deacon Mike says, Jose wearing that jersey, I'm thinking he'll end up duct taped to the outfield foul pole. It helps. It helps that he'll be there with Big Show and Slaughter. I think that will give him added confidence for sure. Okay, let's get to work now. We didn't have Jose for very long because he's heading off to Arlington with the boys. So big shout out to Jose. Quick review of yesterday, a 4-2 day. Milwaukee, Detroit, first 5 under 4.5 cashed. Colorado, Atlanta, first 5 under 4.5 cashed. And those were I did tail 3 of Our man only knows his looks. The other one was Oakland KC first 5 under 4.5 that was voided with the pitching change. Phillies score first was a gift from our Mr. Gokster. That cashed. Mets first 5 minus a half was a loser, but I got 3/4 of that back with the St. Louis New York Mets over 8, which was easy. LA Chicago White Sox first 5 over 5 was a loss, and Arizona LA Dodgers over 8 was a push. So 4 and 2 plus 1.55 units. Taint play today cashed with the Cleveland Indians. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day cashed as well, and then the Say Hey play of the day lost. All right, we start at 12:20 p.m. Not only do we have TJ here, and the Kraken play today is in. Sorry, let me pull this. Pop that here. Here we go. Copy and paste. Kraken play today from Marcus. Giants first 5 minus a half. I find that game perplexing. I hope Not Flush Island is still rolling with us so we can hear his looks on that spot. But let's start here. We have TJ who believes in this Colorado Rockies team. He's backing them first 5, and he has the spreadsheet play of the day to go against the Braves -1, which can come in. Let's get to work. Colorado Rockies 68 and 78, 23 and 51 on the road. This game pops off in 50 minutes. 50 minutes. Braves 76 and 68, 37 and 36 at home. Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. And we have light rain, and we had our man Puzzler give us the Doppler forecast, and he thinks that this game could get in. But there is a 90% chance of rain at 2 o'clock. So it does throw a wrench into the plans here. I've got light rain throughout the whole game, 7 miles per hour sideways in. Herman Marquez on the bump, 12 and 10, 3.93 ERA, 1.20 whip, 167 innings, 56 walks, 19 home runs. In his last start, he went 6 innings, allowed 6 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and 11 to win at the Phillies. He's pitching very well right now, but he still has the splits that are uncomfortable. At home, 8 and 2, 3.16 ERA, 202 opponents batting average. On the road, 4 and 8, 4.93 ERA, 269 opponents batting average. Taylor or T-Mac in the house says first 5 over 1.5, bank it. And we have Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today, number 2 on the Royals. And that's going to make the guys feel very good about their action in that spot. Let me just pop that here. That goes right with razor sharp picks, gamblers first glance as well. So we got some heavyweights on that Royal spot. Now, Marquez's splits are bad, but so are Sensatella's. And Sensatella's pitching better right now, and he's carrying that over to his road starts. Ian Anderson on the hill, 7 and 5, 3.61 ERA, 1.29 whip, 109 and 2/3, 107 Ks, 47 walks, and 12 homers in his last start. 6-2 win at home versus the Marlins. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, and 9 Ks. The Rockies over the last 30 days versus righties are hitting .233 with a .736 OPS, while the Braves versus righties are hitting .243 with a .757 OPS. Rockies bullpen, 4.46 ERA, 1.32 whip over the last 30 days, while the Braves bullpen has been very good. Turned their season around halfway through the year. Anthopoulos, I was surprised that Anthopoulos hadn't got his bullpen straight, but he has now. 3.63 ERA, 1.15 whip. Okay, so here we go. Topset says Braves first 5 run line, and he likes the first 5 over as well. So T-Mac liking the first 5 over. Same with Topset. Let's move on to the baseball data. Then we'll move to where the market is, and then we'll move to where the cash is. Against Marquez, they're hitting .295 with a 1.009 OPS. They're 23 for 78 with 15 of those 23 hits for extra bases. 6 of those 15 extra base hits are homers. Wow. That's a lot. Against Ian Anderson, 417 with a 1.562 OPS. Now, the sample size is small, 5 for 12, but 3 of those 5 hits are for extra bases, 1 double, and 2 jacks. Let's move over to what the market has done on this early game. And Puzzler says current forecast down to 30% chance of rain all game. Let's see what RotoWire has to say about that as well. RotoWire has 54%. You know what? Maybe I should refresh it, see if they changed it. They had 54% chance of rain earlier, and we'll see if that has changed. They still have 54%, but that they might just not be updated. It Rockies lineup don't look that good today, says Mally Mal. The confirmed lineup for the Colorado Rockies: Raimel Tapia, Rogers, Story, McMahon, Diaz, Hilliard, Ruiz, Daza. There are pieces of that lineup that you wish were there. Charlie Blackman is not in the lineup. Against the Braves, or for the Braves, Albies, Soler, Freeman, Riley, Duvall, Rosario, Swanson, Contreras. Braves are going all out for this win with that lineup. And CT Base says, great point, Malley. No Cron, no Blackman. They both have homers against Marquez. Okay, so then let's move over to the market move here. The Braves open up at minus 170. They're now minus 168. A 2-cent move towards the Rockies. And this total has gone from 8.5 to 8. Let's pull out the cash flow here. We have 5,699 tickets in. 58%, 57 now, sorry. 57% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on the Braves, and a 2-cent move to the Rockies. You know TJ smiling when he hears that stat. 63% of tickets on the over, 58% of cash on the over. An early game with a weak Rockies lineup where the Braves have to win. Very, very interesting. Damon Santori says, what the fuck, no Hampson. He's heating up Garrett Hampson. Mr. Ghoster, that's the only bet I've made so far is the Reds first 5 minus a half. Wow. This is a spot here that I didn't feel like I had an angle that I could really trust. Speaking of Mr. Ghoster, I'm wearing the shirt that Ghoster brought down to us in Costa Rica. And he autographed. I've never watched it either, Ghoster. It's I wouldn't say it's sorry, that's wrong. I wouldn't say it smells good. But I'm not going to wash off your autograph, man. You kidding me? So all I am going to do here is give you the information, let you guys know what's up. There's DJ Big Boss in the house, and I'm not going to move on this game. It pops off in 45 minutes. Spreadsheet play today is the Atlanta Braves -1, and certainly when you look at the lineup, the Braves are trying desperately to win this game, and the Rockies are just playing a game of baseball. But the market has moved towards the Rockies when the cash is on the Braves. Okay, there you go. This game pops off at 12:20 p.m. Let's move on to the next early spot, a move that I have made. 12:35 p.m. Eastern, Cincinnati Reds 75-71, 37-38 on the road at the Pittsburgh Pirates 54-91, 34-40 at home. Noli knows is on the first 5 under 4.5. That's for here, right? The Reds game, Noli? Which one's that for? I don't want to get too excited if I'm not entirely sure. Mark Sports Betting says all the value seems to be on Colorado. It does seem to be on Colorado, but, you'd prefer to have those bats in the lineup. So, Pocket QB Lamar Jackson says Reds are so bad. Viper says can't trust Molly. Braves game. Okay, so Noli knows is on the first 5 under 4.5 on the Braves game. Noli knows with a great breakdown yesterday, and the 2 games that went forward that I tailed them both cashed comfortably. And thank you, Noli. Thank you, my man. Okay. I think, Mike, you're probably right. That's my style. Okay. Viper says can't trust Molly, and I find that Molly is very trustworthy on the road. Let's break this down. Reds, Pirates, PNC Park, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 71 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour in. Tyler Mahle going up against Connor Overton. Mahle, 11-5, 3.73 ERA, 1.21 whip, 159 in the third, 188 Ks, 23 home runs. He's been really good this year. His last start was at St. Louis, and he has these terrible home road splits, but he managed to get the job done. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 6 Ks, and a 4-2 win at St. Louis. They do hit Mahle, they do, but something changes when this guy gets on the road. Vitalis Mahle, first 5 of the season, 18-5 and 6, 78.3%. I would like this game more if the Reds were at home. See, that's the opposite of me. I would not have anything to do with the Reds if they were at home. At home, he's got a 6.09 ERA, 276 opponents batting average. On the road, Mahle 7-2, 1.97 ERA, 189 opponents batting average. And he's going up against Connor Overton, a didn't make his major league debut until he was 28 years old. He came over from the Blue Jays system, a team that was desperately looking for bullpen help. Now, I don't trust the brain trust of the Blue Jays like we trust the Rays' brain trust, but he's combined for 7 2/3 innings this year. He's not allowed to run. There's 4 hits, 5 Ks, and 2 outs, but the Jays didn't want him. Why didn't the Jays want him? And is he going to come in here and have a great start? Is he going to have a strong start? Reds versus righties last 30 days, 245, 747 OPS. Pirates versus righties, just 224, 656 OPS. Reds bullpen has been marginally better than they have been all year. In the last 30 days, 4.77 ERA, 1.28 whip. And Vital says Molly's FIP is 3.92. Forget the road home ERA. He will be okay. I don't think it's responsible to forget the home road splits for Molly when he's become so predictable and we've made so much money off of him all year. And Gas Station Sushi was the first guy to say it. He was the first guy to say, look, he's my favorite pitcher because he's so predictable. Pirates bullpen, 4.17 ERA, 1.33 whip. So let's go back to Overton. He not only has been, he probably would have got to the show last year had there not been that, short COVID season. But this year in AAA combined with Pittsburgh and Toronto, he's 2-1 with a 1.99 ERA and a 1.07 whip. 52 Ks and 11 walks. He's allowed just 3 homers and 58 2/3. Why did the Jays not want him? Why did the Jays not want him? And we're going to have to go through this exact same thing with Chris Ellis, who's on the mound with the Baltimore Orioles. Why did the Rays not want him? I think this is extremely important here. So let's move on to the first off the baseball data. We've already spoken about the Pirates getting to Molly, 308, but an 854 OPS. So 12 for 39, but just 4 extra base hits in those 39. Then we know that Overton hasn't been seen by the Reds. T-Max's only problem is since he ain't hitting. Cal 707 Bear says maybe Votto for the Jack. So, and Creo saying only 3 runs in 12 innings against Molly. So let's move on to the market movements here. And we have the Reds opening up at minus 155. They're now minus 165. So, and that's come back. So let's just move over to the actual market move. That got up to minus 175 a couple different times. So it opened up at minus 155 at Pinnacle this morning at 7:59 a.m. Eastern. By 8:29, so 30 minutes, that had moved 20 cents. 20 cents. Then it went back down to minus 167, back up to minus 175, and now it's back to minus 165. That is where it stands. And then from a total perspective, it opened up at 8.5 and is down to 8. So they think Connor Overton's going to have a nice start. The pimp slap play of the day from Mike M is the Cincinnati Reds first 5 minus a half, going for 8 straight W's. This is the only bet I made. If I just look at Connor Overton's stats, I think, well, why isn't he in the bullpen for the Blue Jays? Why don't they want him? 28-year-old journeyman, not a high prospect, not highly thought of, but he has got pretty good numbers. And Fuck the Bookie says, all right, locked in first 5 under out for both early games, trusting the Noli knows man. Is Noli also on this first 5 under, 4.5? And Matty Ice Reds full game run line and first 5 minus a half is on his card. I didn't see that Noli knows was on the first 5 under 4.5 in this one. Okay, so let's take a look at the cash flow and see if this makes sense. 3,707 tickets in, 80% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on the Reds. So the move back to the Pirates Makes me nervous. 65% of the tickets on the over, 53% of the cash. So those of you on the under, it's nice to see that 35% of the tickets, but 47% of the cash is on the under. So the bigger bets are coming in on the under. Pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson says Pirates have the highest amount of ties in the first 5 in the league. Okay. And Vitalis says it beautifully. And I've had the pleasure of hanging out with Vitalis in Vegas. He came to our big summit of champions down there. Says everyone sees different angles. That's why we are here sharing info. Michael Irvelina says Reds team total over 4.5 and first 5 minus a half. Take the team total instead of minus 1.5, so you don't have to worry about that trash bullpen. Okay, there you have it. That is the other game. This one is also popping off in less than an hour. Mike M's pimp slap play of the day. Cincinnati Reds first 5 minus a half. He's going for 8 straight W's. Mr. Gogster and I'm on it. Matty Ice is on it. Mr. Gogster says Reds team total over 4.5 would probably be a solid look too. Okay. And Mally Mal also says I like that as well to fuck the bookie. Okay, those are your 2 early games, very early games. Let's move on to another spot, 2:10 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for rolling with us. I enjoy this immensely. I love working with you guys so much. It brings so much joy to my life. I love it. I love doing the work, coming here and breaking it all down with you guys. It's great. Okay, Chief in the house. Let's go. Guaranteed rate field, Chicago, Illinois. Angels are 33-40 on the road, while the White Sox 49-26 at home. It is 77 Fahrenheit, clear, 6 miles per hour in. Alex Cobb. What the hell are you going to get from Alex Cobb in this spot? And then you have Ronaldo Lopez with this smaller sample size, but he's been lights out when the White Sox need him desperately with all the injuries to their starting rotation. Cobb, 7-3, 3.82 ERA, 1.26 whip, 77 and 2/3, 84 Ks, 26 walks, 3 home runs allowed in 77 and 2/3. And Viper MB knows that I have a vividness bias of Alex Cobb in a Tampa Bay Rays uniform pitching excellently. And it's cost me a lot of money over the last 4 years. He is returning from a wrist injury. He ended up leaving that game, the last game he pitched on July 23rd, because of a blister, but it turned out that he also had a wrist injury. In his last start, he went 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, just 1 was earned, 1 walk, 4 Ks, and a 5-4 loss at the Twins, going up against Ronaldo Lopez, another guy who's cost me a lot of, I shouldn't be laughing, another guy who's cost me a lot of fucking money. 3-2, 2.05 ERA, 0.84 whip, 44 innings, 40 Ks, 11 walks, 4 home runs. 5 innings in his last start, 6 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned, no homers, 3 walks, 2 Ks, and a 3-1 loss at the A's at home. And I was going to break this down into innings, and it probably would be more prudent because he's only throwing 44 innings on the year. And I believe he's thrown 20 of those innings at home. But he's 2-0 with a 0.90 ERA and a 111 opponent's batting average. And Noli says, yeah, not on the Reds under. Was leaning towards it, but it's minus 125. Not going to do that. So 0.90 ERA and a 111 opponent's batting average, and what I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it's 20 innings. On the road, 1-2, 3 ERA, 2.21, 221 opponent's batting average. Crystal Warren says, I'm on the White Sox team total. Cobb's numbers against the Sox are not good. I think it's over 10. Okay, we'll break that down. And great to have you, Crystal. As always, we love capping with you. White Sox versus righties, last 30 days, they're hitting them hard. 271, 761 OPS. Angels versus righties. No, says I laugh because I must not cry. He's right. He's fucking right. Angels versus righties, 221, 654 OPS. They're not hitting righties. They're not hitting anybody. Last night, they couldn't get to Keuchel. Angels bullpen, 4.53 ERA, 1.42 whip. Dab Fence says Alex Cobb sucks. This could be the easiest W for the Sox all year. White Sox bullpen has been getting better. A ton of volatility in that White Sox bullpen this year. There's times where they were very good, times where they were very bad. They're coming back towards being good again. 3.84 ERA, 1.15 whip over their last 30 days. Let's go right to the baseball data here. Against Cobb, 256 with an 868 OPS. So they're 10 for 39, and 5 of those hits are for extra bases. Against Ronaldo Lopez, 3 for 14, so 214 with a 552 OPS. TJ says Cobb is hard to cap. He's by far the most unlucky pitcher in baseball the last 2 years. Sox are pass, but how to bring down the juice? Puzzler says Lopez only given up 1 hit, no runs, 11 innings at home in the last month. I want to back Ronaldo Lopez at home. It's what I want to do. But I couldn't comfortably. I don't know. Do we trust that Lopez is the ace that I always believed he would become? Mr. Ghost says, I want to take the White Sox first 5 minus half, but why is it so low? So let's move over to the market and the cash here. We have the White Sox opening up at minus 190. They're now minus 170, a 20-cent move towards the Angels. Then we have this total opening up at 8.5 minus 106. It's now under 8.5 at minus 110, so a 4-cent move to the under. So clearly, at this point, now we'll look at the cash, but the market is telling us that Cobb is going to pitch well. So 2,484 tickets in. They are saying that this run on the Angels will continue and that it will be across the board. The Angels will go down to plus 150 is what the line watcher is saying. 71% of the tickets on the White Sox, but just 61% of the cash. Then you have a 50-50 on the tickets, but 76% of the cash on the over. So if you were to let, yes, Eric Thomas, Taint is in. Taint is the next game we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about Taint here in a second, my man. Dab Fence says first 5 minus a half is only minus 115. I'm on that. TJ says the Angels can make anyone look like an ace right now. And Dutch Boy Fresh, Heineke over 20.5 rush yards. That makes a ton of sense, Dutchy. That makes a ton of sense. Chief says White Sox are preparing for the playoffs. Rodney Barton says, I trust the White Sox and Lopez today. I actually like the over 8.5 more. So that's interesting. That doesn't really correlate. Or wouldn't that be a team total over then you'd like for the White Sox if you think that Lopez is going to have a good start? So let's just pop this in here. This is a look from our Dutch Boy Fresh. All right. So TJ says, Dan, those money numbers are confusing. On one hand, they're saying Cobb shows up. On the other hand, cash is on the over. Cash is on the over, yes, but they're making it more appealing to bet the over. You know, Pinnacle is doing that, I would estimate, on purpose. So, you know, if you believe in that shit, I don't know. I mean, there's the Pinnacle's making it more appealing for a bettor to bet the over. So, Deacon Mike says, Angels offense resembles my previous marriage, inconsistent and dead. That's funny. That reminds me of a joke from the great Canadian comic Sean Lacombe. This is when we started, so it's not a great joke now, but when we were 20 years old, and he said, my friend asked me, who would I like to have sex with, alive or dead? And I think it would be Britney Spears and dead. Okay. So if we're judging this by the market, simply the market, it is saying that Cobb is going to have a nice start. If you believe that Cobb is going to have a good start, and that Lopez can easily shut down this weak Angels lineup, then the first 5 under 4.5 would seem like the play. We have a confirmed lineup from the White Sox: Anderson, Luis, Robert, Abreu, Jimenez, Gavin Sheets, Lurie Garcia, Gonzalez, Zach Collins. That's not their scariest lineup. And we still don't have a confirmed lineup from the Angels. Okay, so I think that the first 5 under 4.5 makes sense. And let's see what that is right now. So it's 8.5 is the full game here. The first 5 is at 4.5, juice to the under. And Bet Online's moved it to 4. All right. Now, if this goes to 4, I won't bet it. A 4 has to be a win. 4 runs has to be a win and not a push. All right. First 5 under 4.5 for me. Schillingberg says Cobb no rehab games either, tossing him right into the fire. He went to the facility and had, the pretend games or whatever the hell, whatever sorry, my mind's going blank. I've barely slept this week. Whatever it is, they put him in situations that he wanted. Look, this is a veteran. And if he would prefer to have a simulated game, not simulated, what the fuck's wrong with me? I'm losing my mind. But he has pitched. Dad fan says, don't like it. I think Cobb gets rocked. Chief with me on that first 5 under. Okay, so let's move on here. And we got nice, 6 miles per hour in with the wind. The wind's going to help us a bit. We move on to 2:10 p.m., and this is exciting. We have three of our showcase plays of the day on this very game at 2:10 p.m. Eastern. Oakland Athletics at Kansas City Royals. This is fun. I don't remember if we've ever had 3 on 1 here. Will Butler, I can't wait. This is just a 9-game MLB card. We're going to get into the NFL game here shortly, and I can't wait to do it. So we got, 4 or 5 more games, and I know we've been taking a long time, but these are afternoon games that we're all going to be hammering. So, our day is about these games, so we're taking a little bit more time than we have been. Okay, so let's start. We have 3 of our showcase plays on this game. We start with Taint. Taint is running hot. He is on Oakland KC first 5 under 5.5. Then we have the spreadsheet play of the day, Kansas City plus 106. Then we have Razor Sharps, Gambler's first glance on Royals money line. Break it down. Fuck the Boogie says, forgive my ignorance, but why are these early games at 4.5 on the other side of 5.5? 5.5 is a very high total for a first 5. So, your average total this year, especially early in the year, was 4.5 for the first 5, or an 8.5 for the full game was the most. Okay, so let's roll. Mr. Go says, got to run, fellas, hitting the course today. One more pick. I got Padres, Giants, no run first inning. No run first inning for that spot. I can't wait to talk about that game, and that game pops off next. So I'm going to copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, let's go. Oakland A's 38-33 on the road. Royals 35-36 at home, and we already have Taint saying no Chapman and no Lowry in the lineup for the Oakland A's. And we have confirmed lineups for both. So why don't we start there? For the A's, Jay Hay, Marte, Olsen, Kanya, Davis, Pinder, Murphy, Andrews, and Kemp. For the Royals, Merrifield, Lopez. Nicky Lopez had a good season this year. I like the guy. I like the way he plays. Sal Perez, what a monster. What just the year of his wildest dreams. Hall of Fame now for Sal Perez. Benintendi, Mondesi, O'Hearn, Dozier, and then Kyle Idbell and Rivero catching. Okay, Nikki Shore in the house. Great to see you, man. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Terrace Kinchin says, do the Reds lose again? They may lose again, but I'm on them first 5 minus a half run. 83 Fahrenheit clear, 11 miles per hour out to left at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. It's Paul Blackburn going up against Daniel Lynch. Blackburn has not looked good in a small sample size of 22 in the third innings so far this year. 5.24 ERA, 1.57 whip, has allowed 4 home runs with 15 Ks and 5 walks. His last start was ugly. It was at home where he had been good in years previous to this, but not this year. Matty Ice says Blackburn has solid numbers versus these Royals. Small sample size, but very good. Damon says, if you call Sal a Hall of Famer again, I may puke. Sal Perez will be in the Hall of Fame when his career is over. Daniel Lynch, 4-4, 5.37 ERA, 1.61 whip, 57 innings, 47 Ks, 25 walks, 8 home runs. In his last start, he went 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 0 walks, 4 Ks, and a 6-4 extra inning win at the Twins. At home, he's 2-2 with a 6.83 ERA, but a 2.79 opponent's batting average. On the road, he's 2-2 with a 3.99 ERA, but a 3.06 opponent's batting average. A's versus lefties last 30 days, they're not hitting him. 237, 701 OPS. Royals versus righties, 262, 729 OPS. This A's bullpen is now the second worst bullpen in the entire league. Only the Orioles are worse over the last 30 days with a 6.20 ERA, 1.46 whip. Sharon in the house. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Royals bullpen, 3.06 ERA, 1.32 whip. Larry Gar says, Jimmy, real quick on the Reds game because I want to bet it. Reds have only gone over 4.5 runs in the last 9 games played. Look, I know the Reds are playing terrible baseball, but Mally's made me a lot of money on the road, so I'm going to back him again, first 5, -0.5. And look, why did the Jays not want Connor Overton? Why did nobody want Connor Overton except the pitcher's graveyard in Pittsburgh? So, look, Connor Overton has great numbers this year. But you notice that Noli No's not on the under first 5. Noli No's not on the first 5 under 4.5 in that game when you could be. Robert Cherry's on Colorado first 5 +0.5. Cincy first 5 -0.5. New York first 5 -0.5. Philly first 5 -0.5. Oakland first 5 -0.5. Texas first 5 +0.5. He says, I like Oakland first 5, but backup, he's going to back up and tail Razor full game. Wow, that's interesting. I'm going to copy and paste all those looks from our Robert Cherry. Okay. So let's move over to the baseball data. Then we'll go over the market in this game. Only 4 batters have seen Blackburn. They're 2 for 13 with 2 singles against them. And the A's have not seen Daniel Lynch. TJ says, I was leaning the other way in this game, so I'll stay off. I like the ground ball pitcher with the wind out. Also has a better xFIP and Sierra. And that's Paul Blackburn. So let's move over to what the market has done here. The first 5 has gone from 5 to 5.5, and that never concerns Matty Ice. And he loves it. If he can get an extra half run, he'll happy to bet it. The full game has gone from 9.5 to 10, and Intertops has just moved it to 10.5. So has Bet365. So Intertops and Bet365 have now moved this first 5 to 10.5. Now let's go over to the cash flow here. 3,568 tickets in. 61% of the tickets and 59% of the cash on Oakland. 61% of the tickets, 59% of the cash, and Oakland's gone from -119 to -113 with a 6-cent move towards the Royals. Interesting. Then we have 63% of the tickets on the over, but just 28% of the cash. And that could be misleading because there could have been some big bets that have come in once it hit 10.5. Wow. T-Max says KC has flow right now. And the Rockies game start time is being pushed to 2:15, says CT Bays. Wow. Wow, okay. Well, that makes it sound like they're going to get the game in, and everybody will have more time to bet it. So we have Gambler's First Glance, Spreadsheet Play Today, both correlated, and then Taint Play Today on Oakland, KC, first 5 under, 5.5. And the way you guys can back Daniel Lynch is impressive. And I can't do it. I don't like Blackburn either. Matty Ice has been a long last 2 games for both teams now, an early start here. Oh, I think the first 5 under, 5.5 is very interesting look. I don't dislike it at all. I don't dislike anything here. I like that Spreadsheet Play Today and Gambler's First Glance on the Royals who are playing good baseball. And Blackburn looks vulnerable. In saying all that, I can't move on this. I can't trust Daniel Lynch. And Matty Ice says he's on Oakland full game. Wow. Okay. Very, very exciting spot. I can't wait to follow along. And for those of you making moves on it, best of luck. And if you're running with spreadsheet play today and the gambler's first glance, you're in good company. If you're tailing Taint, you're in good company. And if you're on the other side, you've got Taint backing that play up. Okay. And Max on record says Braves first pitch in 18 minutes. No. They pushed that, Max. They pushed that, sorry, to 2:15. They pushed that because of the rain. Okay, we move on to a very, very interesting spot here. And it coincides with the Kraken play of the day from Mark Sports Betting. He's on Giants first 5 -1/2 -135. And Mr. Gokster, before running out to the golf course, is on San Diego, San Francisco, no run first inning. And Ski Prophet says Lynch at home has been good as long as it's not Chicago White Sox. That's a very important note, Ski. That's a very good note. Because I'm just looking at his numbers in their entirety, but if it's just one team that's hurting him, that's important. All right, we're at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. 56 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 7 miles per hour to the left. Pierce Johnson on the bump, so it means it's a bullpen day. And this bullpen has been so bad of late. Not quite as bad as the A's, but a 5.25 ERA, 1.33 whip over the last 30 days. George Gutierrez in the house. Great to have you, George. Thanks for rolling with us. And Pierce Johnson is good, but he's only going to go 1 inning. So San Francisco makes sense to me. So why was there this market move towards the Padres? It made me pause. I want to talk it out with you guys. 3-3 is Pierce Johnson, 2.98 ERA, 1.21 whip, 67 Ks and 51 and a third. Deacon Mike betting the over 2.5 homer prop in San Diego, San Francisco. And George Gutierrez on Braves, Reds, White Sox, and Royals for George today. Kevin Gausman on the other side, 14-5, 2.65 ERA, 1.01 whip, 170 innings, 201 Ks, 48 walks, and 15 home runs. In Gausman's last start, he went 6 innings, allowed 8 hits, 3 earned runs. No homers, no walks, 9 Ks, and a 15-4 win at the Cubs. He's not looked nearly as strong as he did earlier in the year, but earlier in the year, he was on his way to a cy. At home, 6-3, 3.39 ERA, 188 opponent's batting average. On the road, he's been better. 8-2, 2.11 ERA, 205 opponent's batting average. So he struggled a little bit more at Oracle, which is a very strange split with the pitcher's ballpark like they have in San Francisco. Padres are not hitting righties at all. 208, 628 OPS over the last 30 days, while the Giants are 247, 788 OPS against righties over the last 30 days. So you have the Giants hitting righties much harder than the Padres. You have a bullpen day for the Padres, and their bullpen's been bad of late, and the Giants have seen them often. And then you have a Giants bullpen that's a 2.52 ERA, 1.14 whip over the last 30 days. So when I look at these numbers, I think, well, how do we not back the San Francisco Giants? What would be a red flag? Would it be that Gausman has a 4 ERA in September and has not looked as good in the second half of the year? Would that be a red flag? It's a legitimate one if it is. So let's go over to the baseball data here. Against Gausman, they're hitting 254 with a 644 OPS. So a huge sample size of 122 at-bats, 31 hits, and just 8 extra base hits. Against the Padres, Pierce Johnson, they're 4 for 20. Small sample size, but he's been good. Okay. So then we go over to this market move that stopped me in my tracks. Look at this. Jeez. The Giants open up at -230. They're now at -185. A 45-cent market move at Pinnacle. This total opened up at 8.5. It's now down to 8, and Bet Online just moved it to 7.5. Do we have lineups out? No. Ryan Weathers, the lefty, who's been just destroyed, is the primary pitcher. So what, you're telling me that Ryan Weathers is going to get touched? Or not? Is Ryan Weathers going to have a great game? How could it be 7.5? How could the market move be moving towards the Padres? Let's take a look at the money and see if that gives us any sense. First off, the Padres are going to go down to +155 right across the board. That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts to me. Then you have 82% of the tickets and 78% of the cash on the Giants in the market moving towards the Padres. Then you have 48% of the tickets and 67% of the cash on the over, and they're making it more appealing to bet the over. Yeah, team. Do they need to desperately win? They're 75-70. I mean, the season is starting to get away from them. Let's check that out right now, though. Do they have any chance? They probably have a shot at that wild card. Here, let's check it out right now. Yeah, they do. They're one game back of the Cardinals. So it goes Cardinals, Padres, Reds, Phillies. Wow. Fat Wally. Oh, great to see you, dude. TJ says Gausman shuts them down. Padres first 5 team total under. Puzzler says it isn't raining in Atlanta. They're fixing the field, probably from all of yesterday's rain. Wow, good, interesting. Yeah, I guess, but the market is saying that Pierce to Weathers is going to shut down the Giants. So look, I have to stay far away from this game, but no run first inning, Padres Giants for Mr. Gokster does end up making sense. It does end up making sense, doesn't it? So let's just see what he would have had to pay, or what I would have to pay if I bet it at Bet365 right now. Padres Giants. We're going to go no run first inning. And it's minus 120. You know, maybe Mr. Gokster nailed it here. And I think he did. And I tailed his Phillies score first yesterday, and that got the juice way down from what the first 5 minus a half was going to be. I think Gokster may have nailed it. I hate the first inning bets. I don't know why they give me so much anxiety in baseball and they don't bother me in other sports. But okay, there's a ton of mixed information in this game. And I think that it might be that Gokster nailed that spot with the no-run first inning. All right, let's move on to 5:05 p.m. Eastern. And Maddie, I said it's minus 135 at BetMGM. Says, take it, you're getting a great number. And that number at Bet365 right now is minus 120 to no run and minus 110 to a run. Yes, Bill. Pierce is he's a bullpen guy. So I thought it was going to be a full bullpen day, but they're going to go from Pierce over to Ryan Weathers, who's been terrible. Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Okay, let's roll on. Let's roll on. Next up is 5:05 p.m. Eastern. New York Yankees 82-64, 41-33 on the road at Baltimore Orioles 46-99, 22-51 at home. TJ says I can't do first inning bets. Takes a whole game of capping and cuts it down to 11%. So much variance in one inning. I would prefer a first 5 under, but I don't want a first 5 under with Weathers when I know that it's gone from 8.5 to 8 to 7.5. Nut Plus Sean says, if you have Wade Jr., Gausman, and Yaz, you're looking at 3 outs each time through the lineup. Says, I need a confirmed lineup. That's why the market move. And Daniel Ocean in the house. Thank you, Daniel. Okay, let's keep rolling with this spot in Camden Yards, Baltimore, Maryland, 79 Fahrenheit, humid, overcast, 8 miles per hour in. Jordan Montgomery, 5-6, 3.71 ERA. 1.25 whip, 138 in the third, 137 Ks, 46 walks, 15 home runs. We're having a very strong week, 10-3, plus 6.55 units. But I had a bad week last week, and I lost backing Montgomery at the Mets. Mets weren't hitting lefties, but they destroyed Montgomery. 3 in the third, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 3 walks, 6 Ks. At home, he's 2-3 with a 3.25 ERA. Opponents hitting 228 against him. On the road, he's 3-3, 4.07 ERA, 253 opponents batting average. Lit picks, it's just a bullpen day, just like out of the Tampa Bay Rays book. So it's just he'll go through the toughest part of the lineup and then hand it over to Weathers, who's not looked good of late, but might have an easier time if he can start with a not facing the top 3 batters of the Giants lineup. Okay. So let's get back to this here. Chris Ellis is the same situation that we talked about when we were capping the Pirates pitcher today, Connor Overton. Chris Ellis has good numbers. With Baltimore in 21 and 2/3, he has 18 strikeouts. He's allowed 2 homers. He's a 2.08 ERA, 1-0 with a 1.15 whip. Now, he does have 9 walks, so the K to walk ratio isn't great. His last start was at home versus the Blue Jays, and he looked good against the Blue Jays team that's raking. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, but 4 walks and 4 Ks. But it was a 6-3 win at home versus the Jays. It was when he went up against Robbie Ray, and that the best statistic in gambling is when teams have a 7 or more game winning streak and switch cities, they lose at an alarming rate. And the Jays followed that and lost to the Baltimore Orioles, and Chris Ellis pitched well. The question is, if we trust the Tampa Bay Rays brain trust more than any other brain trust in the league, why did the Tampa Bay Rays not want him? Why would they stick with a guy like Michael Wacha when they don't want Chris Ellis? Yankees versus righties, 231, 752 OPS last 30 days. They're not hitting them hard. Orioles aren't hitting lefties that hard. The average is good at 251, but the OPS is at 739. Yankees bullpen, 3.86 ERA, 1.27 whip over the last 30 days. Orioles bullpen has been atrocious, worst in the league over the last 30 days, 6.91 ERA, 1.63 whip. T-Max says never any fair value in the Yankees game. So LCS looking at Rockies first 5 money line, and Johnny K liking Rockies first 5 under. That game has been pushed back to 215 because of field issues from all the rain that they had yesterday. So you'll have more time to bet it. And then if you just got on the show now, you can go back to our breakdown because we had quite a long breakdown on that game. Okay, so let's move over to the baseball data in this spot. Against Montgomery, these Orioles are hitting 275, but with just a 657 OPS. So they're 25 for 91, but just 4 extra base hits, just 1 homer. Against Chris Ellis, they're 1 for 14. Ellis is pitching well right now. So we go over to the market move here in the Yankees spot. Yankees open up minus 235. They're now minus 234, a 1-cent move over to the Orioles. And this total opened up at 10 at a pick 'em, minus 106 each way at Pinnacle. It's now at 10, slightly juiced to the over. So a 3-cent move towards the over in Yankees Orioles. So let's move over to the cash flow here. We have 3,581 tickets in. 77% of the tickets, 96% of the cash on the Yankees, and yet a 1-cent move to the Orioles. Strange. Then 29% of the tickets on the under, but 82% of the cash on the under. Strange. So the under here with Montgomery Ellis. So Ellis expecting Ellis to have a good start. They're looking at the offense of these lineups over the last little while, or maybe there's just a bias from what happened yesterday. So this full game under 10, I mean, you couldn't bet it. You couldn't possibly trust. I should say you couldn't bet it. It's very difficult to trust the Orioles bullpen. If you wanted any kind of part of an under, you would take the first 5 under 5.5, which has moved 1 cent. The weather's going to help 8 miles per hour in. Dennis Trusty in the house. Great to see you, Trusty. And Nutflash Allen says the bookie beater plays San Francisco -1. So, yeah, the first 5 under 5.5 here, if you believe Chris Ellis, which I don't. But what has he done to this lineup again? He's shut them down in a very small sample size. Judge went 1 for 2 with a double against him. Gallo 0 for 2. Rizzo 0 for 2. Stanton 0 for 2. I don't want to sit here and trust Chris Ellis. Kevin Riley had Baltimore plus 140 yesterday. Nice job. Great job. So the only move for me here would be that first 5 under 5.5, which I think makes sense if you can trust Chris Ellis when the Tampa Bay Rays didn't want him. And do we trust a bounce back spot for Jordan Montgomery? At 275, but just 657 OPS against him. You know, I like under 5.5s. I'm moving on it. First 5 under 5.5 here in Yankees, Orioles. We got Trotwam in the house. All right, we move on to 6:05 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Cubs at Philadelphia Phillies. The Cubbies are 66-80, 27-44. Phillies are 73-72, 41-32 at home. We're at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Wow, and Leonard Porch just got that no-run first inning for Giants. Padres at -102. Nice job. There's a lot of trust going on in this one. 75 Fahrenheit, overcast, 8 miles per hour, sideways in. Kyle Hendricks on the bump, but we did not know who he was going against. Has that been announced? It hasn't. We just still do not know. I don't know if you guys know. Let's see if RotoWire knows who's going to be pitching here. Adonis Medina. So let's move over to Baseball Reference and get up Adonis here. Adonis Medina. So it looks like he's making the 24-year-old from the Dominican is making his season debut. He threw 4 innings in the show last year. Let's see what he's done in the minors this year. Triple A Lehigh Valley. Dirt Pigs, right? 4-5, 5.05 ERA, whip at 1.433. 67 2/3, 55 strikeouts, 26 walks. He's not been very good. I can't imagine he's going to be in there for very long. Going up against Kyle Hendricks. What's that first lineup? We need to know the market. Let's just take a look at what that lineup is supposed to be here. The Pinnacle has opened it up with the Phillies at -168 and the under 9. So if that's the case, the Iron Pigs. Did I say Dirt Pigs? Sorry, Mike. Say Dirt Pigs. What am I? Where am I? Where am I? In a bar somewhere? Okay. Kyle Hendricks. Do you trust him? And I think the answer is he's been bad at home all year long. 6-4, 5.28 ERA, opponents hitting 291 against him. On the road, 8-2, 3.73 ERA, 264 opponents batting average. He's been much better on the road. His last start was good. It was at home versus the Giants, and we know what they're doing to teams. He goes 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 2 walks, 4 Ks. So the Phillies are hitting righties. That's the problem. 246, 771 OPS. Are we going to get a decent number here on the Cubs' first 5 and the potential of Medina getting touched in the majors here? So let's just take a look and see what the baseball data is, because if there's any concerns against Hendricks, I don't want it. And there's none. He shuts these guys down. They've hit 1 homer off of him in 116 at-bats, batting. They hit 216 with a 536 OPS, 25 for 116, only 5 extra base hits and only 1 homer. So, yeah, I don't see why the Cubs' first 5 shouldn't be bet immediately. Bonquiqui looking at the Cubs team total over. Now, I do also want to note that when these pitchers come up from AAA, like a Dominican pitcher, a young guy with numbers not very good in AAA, but he might have major league stuff. And I don't always cap them well. You know, I guess I tend to look too much at the numbers and not at if he's throwing. You know, maybe we should – we've got football to talk about, but maybe this is a spot to go on the Fangraphs and really get an idea of what he's throwing. Let's see if we can do this quickly. That would probably help here. So let's just bring up how fast he's throwing here. Adonis Medina. Let's just see here. Because, I mean, if he's throwing high 90s, let's see here. Velocity, pitch type. So he throws 53.6% fastballs. No, he's not fast. His average fastball is 92.5 miles an hour. Puzzler says, don't like what's happened to Philly since Hoskins went down. TJ, much love. That was great stuff. as always. Okay, so I think the Cubs' first 5 would be the spot. Let's see what Deacon has to say. Simple. We don't have to bet it. I think the Cubs' first 5 is the spot. Okay. We move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Detroit Tigers and Tampa Bay Rays. We got football coming up here in a second as well. So football coming up here in a second as well. Tigers, Rays, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. The Tigers 31-40 on the road. The Rays 45-26 at home. It's Tyler Alexander going up against Lewis Head. Tyler Alexander 2-2, 4.09 ERA, 1.27 WHIP, 83 2/3, 71 Ks, 21 walks, 14 home runs. In his last start, he went 4 1/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 2 walks, 4 Ks, and a 10-4 win at home versus the Rays. And the Rays have been smashing lefties. Lewis Head 2.67 ERA, 0.96 WHIP in 30 1/3, 27 Ks, 9 walks, 2 homers. It's a bullpen day for the Rays. Let's see if they're giving us a primary for the Rays. Yes, Dietrich Enns will be the primary, and he's a lefty. All right. So the Tigers versus righties, 243, 726 OPS over the last 30 days. Let's switch over to the last 30 days for the Tigers against left-handed pitching here. I've got it all set up. So let's see here. Here we go. Against lefties. Let's go get this. Over the last 30 days, Tigers are not hitting them. 251, a fine average, but just 681 OPS. And Millsy in the house is on Molly over 5.5 Ks. The pitch to get rich, pitcher to get richer. Oh, yes, Millsy. Get E40 on. I can love E40. Okay. No, we cannot, Maddie. Okay, so Tigers bullpen 4.12 ERA, 1.44 WHIP over the last 30 days. The Rays have been smashing lefties, and they just saw Tyler Alexander, and now they have Tyler Alexander at home. You have to think that they are going to rake on Tyler Alexander. Let's just take a look at the baseball data. So Alexander, 8 for 27, 2 doubles, 1 triple against them, 296 with an 811 OPS. Nelson Cruz, 4 for 9 with 2 doubles against them. Lewis Head, they've only had 4 at-bats against Lewis Head. Now, what price is it going to cost to back these Tampa Bay Rays? They open up at minus 190. They're now minus 204, so a 14-cent move towards them. And his total's gone from 9 to 8.5, so clearly a sense that he's going to have a good start here. So let's move to the cash flow in this Tigers-Rays spot. This is the last game on the card because we already broke down the Astros-Rangers right off the top. We have 53% of the tickets on the Rays, 67% of the cash. Oh, sorry, that's on the spread. Excuse me, sorry. 71% of the tickets on the Rays, just 53% of the cash. Wow. Why? Why would big bets be coming in here on the Tigers? 58% of tickets on the under, 61% cash on the under, and it's moved down to 8.5. LCS asking if Molly at 6.5, is that still good to Millsy? What you better be getting a big plus line beside it, because the difference between 6 and 7 strikeouts is massive, LCS. And one thing we really want to try to be consciously aware of is not reach. Wow, so I have to stay off of this Tigers-Rays spot. Initially, I thought, wow, the Rays were going to beat up on Tyler Alexander, seeing him again. But if the market is saying otherwise, then I will. And then Dietrich Enns is a question mark here. Maybe we need to pull up Dietrich Enns quickly and see what we are dealing with here. Dietrich Enns. Must have spelled that wrong. Okay, we're going to search Dietrich Enns here. And I didn't get anything. Cut this off. Yes, here we go. Dietrich Enns. So it's the 30-year-old journeyman Dietrich Enns. He made it to the majors for 2 games in 2017, but he's been back this year for 6 games. He's thrown 16 innings. He allowed 6 earned runs. God, it's crazy. It's crazy that, yeah, LCS, I just, even if that bet cashes, LCS, and you leave money on the table, You are making the decisions that will have a positive ROI for you in the long run. Not reaching when you can't get the market or the line that you need or that you want. So I think it's a very good example to set. Okay, I'm off the race. Maybe Dietrich Hens is going to get touched up here. So there you have it. I didn't move on the Astros Rangers, but I'll go over all of the plays. And again, the boys are all the Pub Sports Radio guys are going to be at that game in Arlington tonight. Anybody in the Texas area, go hang with the guys. And so we broke that game down first. Let's review everybody's action here. First off, the Rockies game is being pushed back till 2:15 or so. And the Pamper Pop play of the day is the Rockies first 5 plus a half. Rockies first 5 plus a half. And CT Base says Royals and Tigers best record in division since the All-Star break. That's wild. Then we have the first spreadsheet play of the day is on the Atlanta Braves, -1. And TJ moved on the Rockies first 5 at a big price. I believe he got plus 163. Matty I says because the Tigers beat and compete with good teams. Tigers are 23-20 against teams over 500. That's a great stat too, Matty. I love the way we all work together. This is great. The Pimp Slap play of the day is Cincinnati Reds first 5 minus a half. And that was the only bet I made before the show started. Next up, I am moving on the first 5 under 4.5 in Angels White Sox. Then we have a wild game with the A's Royals. We have the spreadsheet play of the day 2 on Kansas City plus 106. A gambler's first glance on the Royals money line at plus 110. And then the taint play of the day, Oakland, Kansas City first 5 under 5.5. And I did not move on that game. And interestingly enough, those of you joining us late, that gambler's first glance spreadsheet play of the day is on Kansas City Royals, while Matty Ice, a star of the taint play of the day, is on the A's. It's just not the taint play of the day. Robert Cherry's action, he's been running very hot. He's on Rockies first 5 plus a half, Reds first 5 minus a half, Yankees first 5 minus a half, Phillies first 5 minus a half, Oakland first 5 minus a half, Texas first 5 plus a half. And he says, I like Oakland first 5, but backing up Razor with the full game. Interesting. And we're going heads up there in that Philly spot because I think the Cubbies are live there. Mr. Gokser gave us no run first inning in San Diego, Padres, San Francisco Giants, and it makes sense to me. And I think I'm going to tail it if the price is right. Then I'm moving on the first 5 under 5.5 in Yankees, Orioles, the Cubs first 5. No move for me in Tigers, Rays, and these are the 3 say hey plays of the day spot. He's on the first 5 under 4.5 in Valdez Auto. He's on Valdez over 5.5 Ks, and he's on Carlos Correa home run prop. There you have it. Let's move into NFL. I'm very excited about moving into NFL here on the Thursday nighter. Very quickly, we got it off to a great start, and it should have been better. Some mistakes were made, but 13-5, 72.2% plus 7.45 units, ROI 41.39%, average line minus 112 in week 1. Larry Garr says, I'll be cheering on the Lowback family in the Reds game. Thank you, Larry, my man. And these are the looks for week 2 of NFL. Colts plus 4, Dolphins plus 3.5. That cost me 10 cents. That was minus 120. Buffalo, Miami under 48 and minus 110. By the way, these bets were all made on Tuesday night after the show. If you're just looking for a time frame where I got the number. Patriots first half minus 3 at minus 115. Patriots full game minus 5.5 at minus 110. Broncos minus 6 at minus 110. Falcons plus 12.5 at minus 110. And the Titans plus 5.5 at minus 110. Let's move over to our NFL breakdown for the Thursday nighter. But let's start with the market and the cash here. So the market has Washington football team opening up at minus 4. Then they moved to 3.5. And Bet365 has just moved it to 3. Pinnacle had it at 3. Pinnacle moved it to 3 yesterday at 10:38 in the morning. The Giants were plus 3. Or the better way of looking at it was Washington football team went down to minus 3. It was juice between minus 113 and minus 117. It lasted at 3 at Pinnacle till 10:13 in the evening. So it was 12 hours where it was at 3, and then it went back to 3.5. So it was 3.5 then until 9:24 this morning, and it moved back to 3. It was back at 3 for an hour and 20 minutes, and it is now back to 3.5. Why don't we take a look at what the total movement has done? For the total, this total opened up at 42.5 and is now sitting at 40.5. It has been at 40.5 juice to the over for a while. It's been at 40.5 juice to the over since midnight on Tuesday. So let's go over to the cash here. Go over to the cash. This is the money. We're going to have a huge sample size to break this down here. Heineke versus Jones, 30,275 tickets. So on the spread, 59% of the tickets and 65% of the cash are on the Washington football team, yet the market's moving towards the Giants. Then we have 58% of the tickets and 80% of the cash on the over. And I look at that 40.5, and I think it looks very vulnerable towards the over. But if 80% of the cash on this huge sample size of 30,275 tickets is on the over, then why is the market not adjusting? It's because they want people to bet the over. And I said last night on Razor Sharp Picks horse racing show that it was a Giants or no bet. And I don't want the Giants. I don't trust the Giants. Sweaty Butchers on Giants, Washington football team, first half over 1.5 field goals at -110. That is a great look. Dutch Boy Fresh came onto the show, and he gave us, or just into the chat, he gave us Heineke over 20.5 rush yards at -120. Then Sharpie, he tweeted out and he started out 21-7 in player props. Let's just pull it. Before we do a full breakdown, I just want you guys to know all these spots that the guys are on because I've not moved on this game. He has moved on. Here we go. Thomas over 46.5 receiving yards. Logan Thomas on over 46.5 receiving yards. Wig Farm says you trust Washington. No, I don't. But I trust them more than I trust the Giants. I just think that this is a field goal type of game, and that we know what the division underdogs that are over 3 points, what their ROI is. I mean, they cash. So let's break down this game a little more. But so you know, Logan Thomas over 46.5. A Sweaty Butcher just gave us over 1.5 field goals in the first half and over 20.5 rush yards from Heineke from Dutch Boy Fresh. Nolino says you can trust the Washington defense. Joe Buddy says Daniel Jones is playing for his job this weekend. Viper MB says definitely a field goal game. All right. Let's move on to this spot here. So Giants look bad at home against the Denver Broncos. And I don't trust the coaching staff of the Giants. I don't trust that Saquon Barkley is healthy, 10 carries for 26 yards. And maybe he's physically healthy, but his mind's not right. Daniel Jones threw a 36-7-yard touchdown to Sterling Shepard. He scored a meaningless touchdown late. He fumbled in the red zone. He went 22 for 37. He did not look good. The Broncos were 7 for 15 on third down and 3 for 3 on fourth down. So their defense couldn't do the job. Their offense couldn't do the job. And there was nothing to like. But you have to feel that it's imperative in succeeding in week 2, getting to back teams when you buy them low. Now, we'll see if this blows up in my face because I think that I'm buying the Colts, the Titans, and a bad Falcons team very low. I think I'm getting them at the right time. And if you have any hope for this Giants team, you have to think because of that first opportunity they had in week 1 that you're buying them low. Wig Farm says, what do you think about Heineke? I think that the team believes in him. And he's mobile, and he can find receivers. And he changed the flow of the game as soon as he got into the game. I don't know what the difference is from a offensive ability standpoint for the Washington football team with Heineke and Fitzpatrick, and I'm not sure if there's a big difference. Birdie says Jones is 4-0 versus Washington football team in his career. I'm on Giants fully in this one. Says Washington football team allowed the Chargers to convert on third downs at a 75% clip. 75%. The market is overvalued on Washington football team. And Birdie's been saying that all offseason, that the market's overvalued. Mike M. and Kevin Riley got Indy +4 yesterday. They asked me what I thought the best spot on the board was of my action. I did say Indy +4, but Damon says I can see the overvalue on the Washington football team. He took McLaren unders. Bradbury is just that guy that always kills me. Silky Man is on the Giants and the Astros run line today. Ixnizzle prefers the prop market in this game. He's on Gibson over 2.5 catches, and he's also on Logan Thomas over 46.5 receiving yards. The real Jolly Rogers makes an interesting point, and a valid one, saying that Jones isn't Herbert. Okay, let's move on to Washington. They opened the season with that tough 2016 loss at home versus the Chargers. Heineke looked good. He looked good. 11 for 15, 122 yards, 1 touchdown. Antonio Gibson fumbled the ball twice, and one was extremely costly. He's angry. He ran 20 times for 90 yards. I expect him to have a day here. The Chargers went 14 for 19 on third down. Justin Herbert gashed the secondary for 337 yards. I mean, that vaunted front seven did not look very dangerous. And Bulaga got hurt. Bulaga left, and it didn't matter. It was very strange to watch the Chargers' offensive line be able to control Washington's. And I do not see how the Giants are going to be able to do that. Damon says Washington's defensive TD may be live with Chase Young. Matt Paulins loves the Giants at +3.5. Nobody giving them a shot tonight. Silky Man says tonight's a stay away game. This game shouldn't even be on a Thursday night. It says it's trash. Polo this, Polo that's going to bet against Carson Wentz every game. Okay. No, it says Herbert's my favorite player. Okay, so let's go over this one more time. So we've seen the market go from 4 to 3.5 or 3 or 3.5 for the Giants. And 65% of the tickets are on Washington, 54% of the cash is on Washington. So, and looking at, that's the spread. Sorry. So 59% of the tickets are on Washington, and 65% of the cash is on Washington. And the market's moving towards the Giants. Look, I don't want anything to do with this game. I don't look at this game and think, oh, this is a great opportunity to make money. It's Giants or no bet. I'm not going to take Washington as an over field goal favorite after what we saw from them in week 1 and without Heineke coming in and a lot of question marks. And I don't want to sit tonight and have a Giants bet. I don't like their football team. I don't like what I'm seeing from Saquon Barkley. I don't trust their offense. And I don't really like their defense. There's nothing appealing to me to the New York Giants, and I don't want Washington as this big of a favorite in a divisional game on a Thursday night. So I do think, though, that the cappers attacking the prop market makes sense. Alex Hill's in the house. Great to see you, Alex. CT Bay's giving us a final score of 23-13 for Washington. Matt Paulin says, Brady, I'm with you. Washington offense is terrible. Public perception is Washington is a good team. And Max says you can watch Bethune-Cookman versus Alabama A&M with me. Silky Man says Jones will fumble the game away, Washington or nothing. Wig Farm like in the first half under. And Matt Paulin says no TDs in this game at +9,000. Millsy says, let's move over to college. Says Ohio +21.5. Brady says, I'm not telling you to bet at all. I have Giants +5. God, Brady, you're sharp. That's a great line, regardless. Losing it has Barkley anytime touchdown at +135. And Kevin Riley leaning towards the Giants plus 3.5. Nate Dogg says the old rivalry, another close game. Sentient says, hey, you mentioned you like the Falcons this week. Mind explaining that? Yeah, sure. I can do it quickly because we have those of you who want to talk football. In 18 minutes, Ian Cameron, aka Babano's Football Frenzy, starts here. So I have to be out of here within 17 minutes. But I can explain it to you shortly. Look, it wasn't the debut Arthur Smith wanted, and I'm on the Falcons under 7.5 wins. I do not believe in this football team. But what do we know about Brady is he wants this Buccaneers team to be playing their best football in the last 6 weeks, 2 months of this season. That's what he wants. He needs them to fix a lot of things, and they're going to work on a lot of things. But they didn't look nearly as good as we thought they were going to look, and their defense did not look good, and now their secondary is taking some heavy hits. And I believe that 12.5 points is too many, and that we are getting a very nice number in week 2 because of a bad week 1. And that Falcons team did have 2 great drives to start the game off. Now they've settled for field goals. And Arthur Smith knows there's going to be bumps on the way here. I just feel, and if you compare this to the other big dogs, that this is by far the best dog. I mean, if you looked at the 12.5 that Atlanta was at and 12.5 that Houston was at, that's with Houston having a spectacular first game. The idea that the Falcons and Texans would both be at 12.5 made no sense to me. There's no doubt in my mind that the Falcons can keep it within 15 points, and that 12.5 was a nice price. Is sort of what I'm getting at. Okay, let's move on to college football. Johnny Case's Overton don't look too bad. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, if you look at his numbers have been good, very good in AAA, but I don't know why the Jays got rid of him. All right, let's move on to college football. That is next here on the show. But again, the prop bets, Heineke over 20.5 rush yards at -120 from Dutchy. Sweaty Butcher is on Giants, Washington football team over at 1.5 field goals. And both Schnizzle and Sharpie are on Logan Thomas over 46.5 receiving yards. But Levon Polo says, do you think the Eagles are that good or the Falcons are that bad with a Buccaneers team that have no defense? I don't know what to do exactly with the Eagles, and I have not moved on the Niners-Eagles game. I'm not sure what to do with the Eagles. And look, I think the Falcons are a bad football team. But this is not a Buccaneers team that's in their late season mode, and I just think it's just way too many points. Okay, so let's move on to this so we're going to do 2 college football games here, and we're going to go over the college football action. So I had that great week 0 and week 1 where I was 14-3, and then I crashed back to earth in week 2. So I'm sitting 16-10 at 61.5% plus 4.75 units ROI plus 18.27%, average line -111. I'm on Temple plus 16, Ohio State -27. Look, I know that market's moved way against me. Toledo -14.5. Army first half -21. Ohio State first half -14.5. Interesting that the full game for Ohio State's gone way down. Yet the first half is still sitting at 14.5. And then I've got 2 bets I'm going to add after we talk about this game tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Ohio Bobcats 0-2 on the year at the Louisiana Raging Cajuns Cajun Field in Lafayette, Louisiana. Let's start with the market and the cash and then break the game down because these are 2 underachieving football teams. This total opens up at 54.5. It's now at 57 at Pinnacle. It's climbing quickly. Louisiana opened up at -20. They're now -19.5, and Heritage has moved it to -19. Let's move over to the cash flow here. We have 5,775 tickets in. 51% of the tickets are on Louisiana, 61% of the cash, yet there's been a point adjustment towards Ohio. Then we have 50% of tickets and 84% of the cash on the under, yet it's gone up to 57. They're making the under more appealing. Okay. Max says UConn's the second worst team in FBS. They will lose by margin. I think so too, but I only want Army first half, and that was a move that Dommy Gun Ricci's on, and it just made a ton of sense to me. Von Polo says Ohio plus 20. Ohio opened up with a 29-9 loss at home to Syracuse as 2-point favorites, so it was alarming, but not nearly as alarming as following that up with a 28-26 loss at home to Duquesne as 28.5-point favorites. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't move the ball on the ground. O'Shawn Allison, 12 rushes for 76 yards against Duquesne's defense. Made no sense. Canadian sophomore Curtis Rourke out of Oakville, Donovan Bailey's Oakville, Ontario, has completed 35 passes for 50 attempts for 310 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He's not looked good. Not looked good. DJ Big Boss says, I like Toledo after a visit to South Bend. Maxwell Smart says, Army first quarter minus 7.5 is appealing. You were right, Max. You were right. It's that first quarter and first half that's appealing. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Max. I'm going to copy and paste that. That makes a ton of sense, Max. Kevin Riley is on the Ohio-Louisiana under 57.5. Noli Note says possible hangover spot for says about Toledo. Yeah, I wouldn't want Toledo first half, but Glass Bowl is going to be rocking, baby. Okay, I think full game. I think they take over in the second half. So Ohio gave up 194 passing yards and 168 rushing yards to Duquesne. What the hell is going on? And everybody should be fired. And we move over to Louisiana. They open up with a 38-18 loss at Texas as 8.5-point dogs. So not good, but not awful. Then they barely defeat Nichols, the Colonels, 27-24 at home as a 26-point favorite. What? The Ragin' Cajuns barely beat Nichols. They're up 27-10 in the fourth quarter. They take their foot off the gas. They ran for just 113 yards against Nichols' run defense. Chris Smith led the team with 11 carries for 46 yards. Look, we love to cheer for the small quarterback. But Levi Lewis has not looked good when he should have. 19 for 33, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. This was supposed to be a pass rush for Louisiana that was going to be dangerous. Zion Hill, Chauncey Manick, Mason Narcisse, they didn't look good at all. They didn't look good at all. Noli Noah says ULL has to run the ball better. Lewis hasn't been using his legs as much this season. This is 2 teams that have horribly underachieved. CT Bays is on Ohio plus 20. So they have both horribly underachieved. How do you bet on either of them? And then when you look at that, the total is being bet up to, is now at 57 or 57.5, and yet you have 82% of cash on the under. What the hell do you do with that information? Noli Noah says he's on the under. Well, that makes sense. But how high is it going to go? So Pinnacle moved it from 55 to 57 on Sunday. And there's been times where the under's been juiced, but not quite as much as it is right now at 57. Maxwell Smart says ULL has better defense. Pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson says 2 bad defenses equals an over. I agree that two bad defenses equals an over, but these are bad offenses. So Kev Riley's on the under. He got it at 57.5. Dennis Trusty says, well, let's say that one's underachieved and the other is just bad. I don't see how I can sit here and put money on one of these squads who've been absolutely terrible. Fuck the bookie says under in Cajun's first quarter. Puzzler says still too many points. I like the under as well. Nolan Note says ULL 9-3-1 to the under in the last 13. Lafayette defense will show up tonight. I feel like I need to see a market move back to the under before I can trust it. Nathan Cerna in the house. Okay, I get it. After watching these two offenses get shut down by Duquesne and Nichols, then yeah, I get it. The under should be in play. But it's being bet up right now, and I'll have to keep an eye on it. So under would be my only look, and I'll just keep an eye on the market. Okay, we have 7 minutes before Babano's football frenzy pops off. Let's move on to a game that was met with derision with my action here. Saturday, September 18th, Old Dominion Monarchs at Liberty Flames. This game pops off at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're in Lynchburg, Virginia at Williams Stadium. Let's move over to the market move here on this spot. This will be the last game we break down, and then Babano's football show will pop off. So here we go. We're going to go to the spreads and totals, and I'm going to move the cash flow over as well. Taking a second here. Here we go. Spreads and totals. Oh, shit. Sorry, let's move that back. All right, here we go. So, Old Dominion. And we've already heard that Kev Riley is on the Liberty Flames first half, minus 16.5. And I get that. But full game, I'm moving on two things. I'm moving on the Old Dominion Monarchs at plus 27. And I'm moving or have moved on the under 53 in this spot. And they just said that Saquon Barkley is out tonight. Will Butler just announcing right now that Saquon Barkley is out tonight. Wow. That's wild. Okay, here we go. So let me just make sure let's just see exactly what I got here. So let's take a second. I got 27.5. Okay, good thing. Okay, I got 27.5. Pinnacle has just moved it to 27. When did Pinnacle move this to 27? Let's find out right here. They just moved it 11 minutes ago to 27. And I agree with the market move. Then this total has gone down to 52.5, even 52 at BetOnline. And I've got it at 53. Okay, I like where this is going. Now let's move on to the cash. Here we go for the 6 p.m. start here in Old Dominion Liberty. Just 1,185 tickets in. So small sample size. 94% of the cash is on the over, but moving towards the under. So I don't take too much in that. And then on the spread, 93% of the tickets are on Liberty, but just 73% of the cash is on Liberty. And I think that's also a big thing here. Okay. Puzzler said, I heard for a small school, Liberty has first-class facilities. And Maxwell Smart says, Malik Willis and that rush stack is tough to handle. This is not a defense that can blitz and contain like Troy's defense. I think that's well put. Maxwell Smart says, Liberty is an independent with high-quality recruits and transfers. I'd like to talk about ODU first. But we know what Liberty can do. We watched them last year. That win over Coastal Carolina was absolutely unbelievable. 2 years after leaving the FCS ranks, and their final ranking was 17th in the Associated Press poll. They opened their season with a 48-7 win at home over Campbell. So it was and they came out real sloppy in that first game. Campbell fighting Camels. They were up 20-7 at the half. It was ugly. So they went to Troy and they secured a 21-13 win. Look, Troy's a tough football team. Malik Willis, 13 of 18 for 154 yards. He rushed 20 times for 93 yards. Troy's a tough squad, but it was an underwhelming performance. And the biggest thing for me is that Liberty has a game, a huge game, on Friday night in Syracuse. And all eyes are going to be on that game Friday night. At least all of upstate New York is going to be watching that game, and we are going to be watching that game. So I think that they can cover the first half, but I don't expect them to go all out in this game, knowing that 6 days later they got to be ready for Syracuse. Let's talk about ODU here. So Rick Ronnie, he's changed the vibe. So ODU doesn't play in 2020, and I hammered against ODU in that first game against Wake. I had Wake first half, full game. It was easy cashers. They lose 42-10. Now, it turned out that it was lucky I got in early on the 31 because Wake didn't try in the fourth quarter. So, yes, this was a terrible football team. But Ronnie has changed it, and he's got some pieces now. They have UCF transfer DJ Mack, 6'3", 230-pound junior who can bring like a running power game, and he's played in big games before. They just played in their home opener, Hampton. And look, Hampton's terrible. But they had 18,363 fans at Ballard Stadium. They ended their 12-game losing streak that dated back to the 2019 opener, 741 days. DJ Mack Jr. rushed for 3 touchdowns. They ran as a team for 358 rush yards. Now, look, I know it's against Hampton, but that's what they're going to do against Liberty. And it's not going to work, but the clock is going to tick, and they're not going to take major risks. And DJ Mack is not this guy's 6'3", 230 pounds, and he's going to be coming at that line of scrimmage hard, and they're going to be able to get first downs. So he gained some confidence. Now, look, he didn't look very good through the air against the weak Hampton defense, 11 for 22 for 162 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. But they gained 572 yards. Hampton only gained 167. They have a 2'6" offensive lineman that he's going to be running behind, and Isaac Weaver and Nick Saldiveri. Elijah Davis ran 8 times for 109 yards, and then he got hurt. But the freshman John Luke Peaker came in running 18 times for 141 yards. Their defensive line lost big pass rushers to transfers, Juwan Ross and Keon White. Keon to Georgia Tech, Juwan Ross to East Tennessee State. And the secondary is weak. But I think they can stay in this game. And even if they're down bad in the fourth quarter, I do believe that Liberty's going to have their eyes on Syracuse in that huge game. So I'm on ODU plus 27.5 and the under 53. Those are my 6th and 7th additions to my college football card. That is our show. Babano is starting up right now with his football frenzy, but that is our show. Quick review of action. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is the Braves -1. Pimp slap play of the day going for 8 straight is the Reds first 5 -1/2. I know that game's on right now. I'm on that as well. I'm adding the first 5 under 4.5 in Angels White Sox. Spreadsheet play of the day number 2 for Ron Crawford's Kansas City +106. Gamblers first glance Royals money line at +110. Taint play of the days Oakland KC first 5 under 5.5. Mr. Gokster talked about the Padres Giants no run first inning. I'm going to tail that. First 5 under 5.5 in Yankees Baltimore. I'm going to be on the Cubs first 5. I'm not on any other action. And Jose Seje plays of the day. First 5 under 4.5. Valdez over 5.5 Ks. Correa home run. I've not moved on the Thursday night big game in it. Well, Thursday night football, I should just call it. I've not moved on it. Max said the Army first quarter -7.5 is appealing. I agree. And I'm moving on Old Dominion plus 27.5 and ODU Liberty under 53. I really think that this big quarterback can slow the game down for ODU, get the clock ticking, get a few first downs, and cover. All right. Birdies on the Giants +5. Thank you guys all so much. Head over to Babano's NFL football show right now. Those of you in the Texas area, Jose, Slaughter, Big Show will all be at the big game at Globe Life this evening. I've got no show without you guys, but we got to go. Babano's show is starting right now, so I head over to the Football Frenzy with Babano, and much love. Thank you guys for all your support. Big show tomorrow. Big show tomorrow. But most importantly, Leche! Hey, Los, bookmakers, get paid in full, and thank you so much for your support.